Rashmi, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, your doubt was why have I taken 10% separate here and why not? Why have I clubbed 40% here?
Yes, sir.
I have space constraint.
So books is a total different asset, right, sir?
Right.
So why did we take it under plant is what I'm asking.
Basically, I wanted to add one more column here, but if I add column, my slide will not be sufficient enough to for you to visualize. That's the reason I club it. See here, if I
All
club
right, sir.
my 10% here, if I add these two values and put it under building and furniture, nothing is going to change because I have not purchased anything here. Had I made a purchase
Yes,
of
sir.
something here, then it would have got affected. But I thought that
Okay.
I can add one more column as books. That's the reason I wanted to, that's the reason I separated this. But later I came to know that I cannot add books because I don't have that much space. So I had to club 40% under this plant, nothing else.
So we have to make a separate column for books.
It is better because
Yes.
each asset will be classified on that particular block. Or else, Rashmi, you club furniture and building as 10%. So you have only one 10% block, one 20% block, one 15% block, 40 and 25. That is also permitted.
Yes. Got it,
This
sir.
is only for HR students, right?
Even for HR, finance, HR, marketing.
We will leave them.
Narayan, what have specialism have you taken?
The finance marketing. I thought you will be engaging this class.
Actually, I wanted to complete this, but how many are from HR here? How many people have joined from HR? I think most of them are from finance itself.
We saw. Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So can you upload this on YouTube so that we can refer it?
Can we? Can I what?
So upload this videos of some on
Okay.
YouTube, sir,
Okay. 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 Fine.
so that we can refer it.
Right. 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 No problem.
So not only this sums, like before also whatever you have taught us, like only problems, so that we can refer it.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. I don't think HR students are joining here. Only finance students were there. Shall we continue then? Shall we continue or should I stop and switch to HR? There are no HR students joining. So I'm just putting a message across in the group. Okay. Somebody just keep a tab on how many students are joining. I've put a message across. Till the time they join in, okay, till the time they join in, I will just explain you the theoretical concepts of what do you mean by additional depreciation. Okay, let us not waste time. Let us try to finish up this particular part. Is that okay? Some person, one person, any one person, please keep a track on if HR
Yes, sir.
students start joining, please let me know. Okay. Who can give me a count? Who can tell me that HR students are joining? I want one person to take the responsibility. anyways, I will just start with this particular problem. So that the problem since the theory, so that you
Sir, most of them are HR students only.
most of them are HR. Okay, fine. I'll just explain this theory and then we'll switch to HR. Okay, fine. Now, so we have discussed in the previous class, we have discussed what do you mean by depreciation, how to calculate it, what do you mean by blocks, when do we consider 50% of the rate, all these things we have considered. But there is something, a new concept that has been added called as additional depreciation. Okay. Now, apart from claiming regular depreciation, which we call it as normal depreciation, the assessee is also eligible to claim additional depreciation, but there are conditions for it. What is the condition is what we have to see. Okay. So if there is any person or assessee who wants to claim additional depreciation, okay, over and above the normal depreciation, he is eligible to do that provided he satisfies certain conditions. And what are those conditions? Condition number 1, the assessee must be engaged in manufacturing. If the assessee has a business which is of trading basis or which is of service based industry, he is not eligible for additional depreciation. Only those assessees who are engaged in the business of manufacturing, please understand this word, only those particular assessees who are engaged in the business of manufacturing, only they are eligible to claim additional depreciation. Okay, that is point number 1. Second, if you want to claim additional depreciation, first of all you have to be a manufacturer. Second, the asset has to be a new plant and machinery. You cannot buy a second hand plant, that is not permitted. It has to be a new plant or a machinery, and that too it should have been acquired after 31st March 2005. If you have acquired any plant and machinery prior to 2005, you are not eligible to claim additional depreciation. In other words, after 2005, if you have purchased any plant and machinery, for such case, additional depreciation is applicable. Clear? Next, only eligible plant and machinery should be included. The following are not included as plant and machinery. Okay, so if you have purchased any ship or aircraft, it will not be considered as a new plant and machinery. If you have purchased any used plant or machinery which is in India or abroad, you are still not eligible for additional depreciation. Okay, if any plant is already been installed at your home or anywhere else and you have shifted that plant, you have not purchased it, but you have merely shifted that plant from one factory to another factory, from one godown to another godown, from one residence to another residence, or from office to factory or something or the other, you are still not eligible. The condition is it has to be acquired after 31st March 2005. 2005. It should be a new plant. Please understand the word. It should be a new plant. Next, that assessee has to be engaged in the business of manufacture. Only if these three conditions are satisfied, the assessee is eligible to claim 20% extra depreciation. 20% extra depreciation is eligible. See, the more the depreciation is, the assessee is able to claim more depreciation, the better it is for him for two reasons. One, his cash will rotate within his company because depreciation is a mere cash entry. Second, most important thing, his tax liability gets reduced. The higher the depreciation, lower will be the tax rates, right? So any assessee will always try to see that he gets the maximum benefit of depreciation. So here, if the assessee wants to claim extra 20%, he has to be a manufacturer. He should purchase a new plant and machinery. That plant and machinery should have been acquired after 2005, and it should not include any of these. Only then he is eligible to claim 20% extra depreciation. Clear? Important. Please read this point once again. Please read this point once again. If you have purchased the asset after 2005, it's a new plant and machinery. You have purchased it after 2005. Okay, but in that particular previous year, if you have used that plant for less than 6 months or 180 days, if you have used that plant for less than 6 months or 180 days, then 50% of the depreciation has to be considered. 50% of 20% is nothing but 10%. Okay, so 10% of depreciation would be applicable only when you use the asset for less than 180 days. Is that clear? So this is the theory as far as additional depreciation is concerned. The next class we have problem on additional depreciation. That problem I'll take it in the next class. Okay, so this is how you have to solve problem on additional depreciation. Again, full 10 marks question. Clear? Fine. So I'll stop the class here. Okay, and I will switch to HR. I'm stopping this sharing of slide. We'll continue this in the next class. Okay, just give me a minute. I'm going to stop sharing the slide, but you be there because I want to discuss something very important. I want everyone to come in the video mode, please. Please come in the video mode.
Sir, can we finance students leave?
Yeah, finance students can leave.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. For all those people who have just joined in for this particular class of HR, okay, I would be engaging your compensation and reward system class. Okay, that is compensation and reward and compensation and extra benefits that have to be understood as far as the HR class is concerned. Okay. Now, before I start the compensation class, okay, before I start the compensation class, I just want a feedback from you. What has been discussed so far? Because I don't want to repeat what has been discussed. Point number one. Second thing, I don't want to confuse you, which has for something which has already been taught to you. I don't want to confuse that. Clear? So please tell me clearly up to what point things have been discussed.
Sir, the 4 chapters have been completed in compensation, sir, and 2 assignments are given to us.
4 units have been completed in compensation.
Yeah, yes, sir, yes, sir. Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. So when I say 4, it talks about the competitiveness concept policy, compensation policy has been discussed,
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
survey methods have been discussed. How the compensation and reward policy has been decided, that has been discussed across companies.
Yes, sir. The 4th unit has been completed, sir.
Okay, so 4th unit has been completed. So we are left with
Yes, sir.
5th and
5th and 6th.
okay, fine, fine. Now, because unless I know what has been discussed, I will not be able to explain to you the next part that is pending. Okay, so I have to start with unit number 5. That is, if I'm not wrong, that is talks about piece rate systems. Okay, so that I will discuss.
Performance-based
Correct.
performance-based compensation systems.
Performance-based compensation. So basically it is piece rate system. What it earlier days it was called as piece rate system. That is what we have to understand in unit number 5. And unit number 6, I think, talks about more of legal aspects.
Yes, sir. Legal and administrative issues.
Don't worry. So we'll complete that legal and administrative process. My only impression was that fourth unit was not covered. So if fourth unit is already covered, then my headache is reduced. I will start directly with the fifth unit. Okay. Now, till this point, have you understood what is the whole concept of compensation and reward system? What is your understanding of compensation is what I want to know. What do you mean by compensation? What do you mean by reward system? Have you understood this?
So compensation means the pay or the reward going to employees and arising from their employment. The employer give to their employees.
Okay. Have you ever seen a salary slip? Have you ever seen a salary slip?
Yes, sir.
You have seen it. Okay. What are the components that go into a salary slip?
So like HRA, DNS allowance.
By the way, this is not an income tax class. Huh? Yeah. So we have, before anything, we have the basic. Okay. So basic pay is nothing but the pay that you are supposed to get irrespective of whether you do some work or you don't do some work, right? That is the basic. That's fixed. That cannot change. Okay. And all your further calculations, whether it is HRA, whether it is DA, whether it is CCA, whether it is conveyance allowance, okay, whatever you want to call it, personal allowance, whatever you want to call it, all this is based on the calculations of your basic. Yeah. So if you know the basic of the salary, basic pay of the salary, based on that basic pay, all other things are included, right? So whenever we are talking about compensation, all these things have to be taken into consideration, right? The basic pay for the work that you do, the DA is because of the daily allowance that has to be paid to the employees for coming to office, CCA is nothing but city compensatory allowance. If you're living in a city which is expensive, right, and it is difficult to meet your day-to-day needs, so there is a component called as CCA, city compensatory allowance. Next, if you are commuting from your office to your home and from your home back to office or plant, then you have also got a conveyance allowance, right? If you're staying in a rented premises or if you're staying in a company allotted quarters, then a concept of HRA gets applicable. So all these are nothing but ways by which an employee is going to get rewarded for the work that he's going to do. So if you look at the salary slip, basically the left hand side of the salary slip, you have all these components that are coming there, right? And compensation is nothing but understanding all your module or your unit of compensation and reward system is nothing but understanding how do we fix the basic pay, on what basis the HRA is fixed, on what basis the DA has been fixed. So it is nothing but a detailed analysis of a salary slip. So if you take a salary slip and start studying that particular salary slip in detail, that is what your compensation and reward system talks about. Clear? So this is the whole syllabus that we have to discuss. And of course, there are some bylaws. Okay, there are some mandatory payments that have to be made. Mandatory, we call them as statutory obligations. So all these things have to be taken into consideration as far as compensation and reward system is concerned. Clear? So I just wanted a feedback from you as to what has been covered so far. I'm not going to engage any class as such now. I just wanted a feedback as to how much has been completed. So I came to know today that unit number 4 is completed. So I will not discuss unit number 4. I will directly start with unit number 5. Is that okay with you?
Yes, sir.
So in my
Yes,
next
sir.
class, as far as compensation management is concerned, I will directly start with the unit number 5. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. This is the only thing that I wanted to confirm, nothing else. So next class, we'll start with unit number 5. Okay. Thank you for attending. I'm going to stop the meeting here. In my next class, I will start with unit number 5.